Hi everyone, I'm Liz.
I'm Cody.
And welcome to the preview of Unit 4, Unwelcome Uncles. So in Korea, there is a tendency to be nice or polite to older people, so it might seem like a really good place to be old. Young people bow to you, they speak to you in courteous language, they're a little bit afraid to disagree with you, so, seems good.
Courteous.
Courteous.
But all of this kind of age consciousness and being constantly conscious of who's older and who's younger, it cuts both ways.
Right.
So on the one hand, older people are given a lot of leeway. As I said, if a young person disagrees with an older person, they might be seen as rude or having a bad character.
Cut both ways.
Cut both ways.
Leeway.
Leeway.
But on the other hand, if young people are kind of always worried about offending an older person, they might just start to avoid them like the plague, and not really want to have anything to do with the older generation.
Avoid something like the plague. Avoid somebody like the plague.
Avoid something like the plague. Avoid somebody like the plague.
So recently, a restaurant in Seoul made the news because they said they were politely refusing anybody over the age of 49. And they wouldn't allow them in the restaurant, they wouldn't serve them. And they said that this was because, large groups of ajoshis, or uncles, middle-aged men, had a tendency to be unruly. They're loud, they often kind of give unwanted attention to the younger female guests, and things like that. So they said they were banning anybody over the age of 49. And this was obviously controversial, especially among the over 49 age set. And we'll talk more about kind of the controversy in the review. But how about you? Do you have many friends who are different ages, either younger or older?
Yeah, I think most of my friends tend to be a little older than me. A good friend of mine is actually 8 years older, and previously a close friend of mine, he was 18 years older than me. So yeah, that's a pretty big gap.
18 is pretty big.
Yeah, and most people thought like, oh, he's almost old enough to be like fatherish, but like he was father of a younger, or his son was my friend, but I treated his young son as like my younger brother. But we were close, we talked a lot, we were very close in a lot of situations, so yeah, I would consider him my friend. But most of my friends are older, I would say. How about for you?
I do not have that many friends who are significantly older or younger. I would say that they're mostly within a range of like 5 years either direction.
Okay, yeah.
I interact with a lot of people who are significantly older and significantly younger because I teach. And so many of my students are quite a lot older than me or quite a lot younger than me. But the people that I'm really close with tend to be in that kind of 5-year range in either direction. It's not intentional, it's just the people that I happen to meet. And, I guess through work and other things like that, most of the people have been around my age, and the people who are older were like my boss, and you don't want to be, you can't be friends with your boss. But yeah, I just didn't have any bosses that I really wanted to be.
I see.
Yeah, and I don't have a lot of like outside, here in Korea anyway, I don't do a lot of like group activities or clubs or anything like that. So I don't have a lot of opportunities to meet people who are older. But
yeah, and in some of the groups that I'm in, like there's some 70-year-old, 180-year-old who joins for like slow runs, and that's amazing to see. And definitely friendly, but I wouldn't consider them my friend. But absolutely, I interact with them very friendly. Right.
So yeah, I don't have a problem with people who are older or younger. It's just the people around me tend to be near my age. And now for the language focus. The first point is tend to. So for example, if I'm feeling really stressed, I tend to have very vivid dreams about whatever situation is causing me stress.
Likewise. If I'm worried about missing my alarm, I dream I sleep through my alarm.
Yes, often multiple times.
All right, and for mine, at one time or another. So I think this one is true. So here's my example. I think everyone has tried to go on a diet at one time or another.
It's at least true for me. Can't speak for everyone. Okay, and that is all for the preview of Unit 4, Unwelcome Uncles. We'll see you in the review.